Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our new Amazing Race review. This is the penultimate episode of the season. I'm big mad. I don't know if I'm as big mad as D'Angelo is, because D'Angelo is the biggest of mads after what we saw.
He is pissed. He is claiming that he will never come back to the show again. I really hope that, 2 years has passed. Maybe he has softened up a little bit.
We got a lot to talk about. The controversial end to this leg, the idea of the city sprint in general. I feel like you guys are going to have opinions too, so yeah, share all of them in the comments as we go through this disaster of a leg.
But before we get started, make sure that you give us a subscribe. It's the best way to be able to stay in touch with us and everything that's going on with Amazing Race. You won't miss any of our videos, so hit that subscribe button.
And you see this shirt here of Coco Vanderwolf, I love it. You can have your own too. You can love it. We have a store where we have shirts, mugs, other cool things. That is there for you in the description.
All right, so the Alliance. Let's just talk about that first, because even Phil, at the beginning of this episode, tried, bless his heart, to stop this from happening.
I love how just over it Phil was the entire leg. Phil was seething in the best way that Phil can, because he's never going to admit it. But there is like a black part of his heart now because of what he had to go through in this leg.
Yeah, he was really trying to push, guys, you shouldn't do this anymore. It's time to move on. There's only 4 teams left. Move on. And even at the end, he was just like, okay, guys, we're going into the finale. How is this going to work anymore? Basically, please stop.
Okay, here's the thing with it, is that I understand why the teams in the moment do this. I get it, and I'm not disparaging them for doing what they can to win the $1 million at the end. I fully get that. But, The Amazing Race, it's one of my reality TV first loves, and why I love it so much is I love the competitiveness of it. I love that's kind of every man for himself, and it's that spirit that I just enjoy so much. And I just feel like this alliance, it's sapped a lot of kind of what I love about The Amazing Race and why this is one of my favorite shows. It's just sort of taken a lot of it away, and I like a lot of the teams. I like the locations. It's just this is really pulling down my overall enjoyment of this season.
I understand the alliances. It
Yeah.
makes sense. It is good gameplay, and we even saw it tonight how important that gameplay can come in, where we saw them listening to the music and trying to figure out with the luggage and the flags. They all kind of needed each other to be able to get to that next step. However, as a viewer, it's not really that fun to watch, and to watch sort of 3-on-1, which is, we knew that was coming. We had seen it already where it was 5-on-1, where we saw Haley and Kaylin go home for the same thing, where it was just we're hitting you and hitting you and hitting you sort of thing. And they took it in stride, but D'Angelo, no. And I understand, I get it. Haley and Kaylin are a unicorn. They are a special breed of person that can be positive through something like that, and sort of the worst of the worst situations sort of just piling on you. But most of us are like D'Angelo. I'm like D'Angelo. I would also be quite upset to watch you're watching it happen. They're all whispering, you're all supposed to be working together. I don't know why they'd be thinking they're still working together, but here we are. They think that, they're watching it. It sucks.
It sucks huge, and I understand the frustration. I understand the rage, because you're so close to the final part of it. As someone who was basically eliminated in the D'Angelo spot on Beauty and the Geek, I get it. It's terrible to be in this position, but this is the thing that I do take a little bit of issue with D'Angelo's just overall vibe, because I left Beauty and the Geek in 3rd place. I danced out of the house. I was still happy that I was there, and I'm not saying D'Angelo needed to dance his way off the finish line, off the mat here with Phil, but, finish the challenge, or try to finish the challenge if you can. I just feel like you are somebody who is a competitor. I just thought them just giving up and taking the penalty, it bummed me out as someone who likes D'Angelo and Gary as competitors and as people on this show.
I would have liked to have seen them finish the challenge, but if they were really feeling like they were that lost, even though they really weren't, they had like one that was off a couple of times. They just didn't know how close they were. And then on top of it, you got the guy who's just like, try again. Nope. Get out of here. He's like the worst magic 8-ball ever. Every time you shake it, it's like, try again. Nope. Better luck next time. It was just, I could see how frustrating just that was. And then on top of it, you just had a 3-on-1. You're just like, I get it. There's only so much a person can take before they're just done.
I love the guy who is judging them. This guy is top 10 Amazing Race judge of all time. I like it when they're kind of mean about it.
They give you some sass.
Yeah, you can kick you in the pants a little bit. You want to
That's
prove
right.
that guy wrong. D'Angelo,
Back
why didn't
to the
you...
truck.
Yeah, prove him wrong. Go back to the truck and get the right thing. You guys were so close. And this is what I will say, is that as enraged as I was with this alliance, just insert word here that I can't say on the channel, just this complete nonsense with it, D'Angelo and Gary still had a chance. It's not like they didn't have a chance. If they had studied, paid really close attention to the clue, paid close attention to the music, those other teams were there long enough. And like you said, they were kind of accidentally really close. But they could have figured this out. And the other teams, they screwed up a lot on reading the clue. They had a chance.
I think the real issue is that Gary and D'Angelo were starting to, get the hints that the three of them were working together and they were on the outs and that it was a 3-on-1. I think that got into their head even more than just, oh man, we're getting it wrong. Because they were close. They were figuring stuff out. And then they noticed everybody in the corners all whispering, and all of a sudden it was really getting to them. It was like, oh, come on. Like, we're right at the end here. We're all here. Like, why is this still going on?
And D'Angelo, if you hadn't said, I'm never doing this again, I guarantee you, if they were doing an All-Stars Amazing Race, which not that I want that anytime soon or anything, I still have scars from Big Brother, but I feel like for sure they would have been a lock. They were famous, people like football players, they would have for sure been asked back. I don't know if they will now.
I think that they might be, depending on if D'Angelo's maybe softened up a little bit. 2 years is a long time, he may have changed his mind about it.
I love that Gary, though, he's just like, I had a great time. He doesn't even care that D'Angelo was so mad.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I really hope that they will implement something next time, that there will be no alliances anymore. The teams are the alliances, and that's what I like about the show. Yeah, it's awesome to see people run around and go to different countries and do all these different fun tasks and stuff, but I like the stories of the two people that are there together, whether it's, sisters that haven't spoken in a while, they're not that close, or two best friends that just want to, do whatever, or a couple that is just dating and they want to get to know each other better and they're doing it on the race. These are the things that I like. I like the personal stories that I get out of the show. I don't need it in an alliance.
Yeah, it's not as fun. And nobody's going to go out and buy t-shirts of the Mine 5 or whatever they were with the 3. That's not going to happen. It's just the overall spirit of the race just felt a little bit different. Who knows? Time may heal some wounds with D'Angelo and Gary, but it is what it is at this point.
But it is leaving some wounds on you. I can see it. And it is a little bit on me too, because it has been a couple weeks in a row where we've seen sort of the underdog get piled on by the alliance. Then the next underdog piled on by the alliance. Now it's Gary and D'Angelo piled on by the alliance. And I'm not here trying to pile on the alliance. This was a good idea, and I get why you're doing it, but for me as a viewer, not as enjoyable.
I'll go a little inside baseball here before we talk about the rest of the leg, because I'm sure a lot of people out there are probably like, okay, well, they clearly knew at the time that they were setting up this race, this leg anyway, that there were these big alliances. Why did they not do something to prevent teams from working together or anything else? And I think the answer is they plan out the entire race, all of the tasks before the season starts. It's like any other reality show, because if someone did magically find out that they started changing challenges depending on how the season was going, that is a legal minefield. The producers don't want to deal with that.
And me as as a viewer, I don't want to deal with that either. I don't want them to be like putting out certain tasks because certain teams will do better at what, like, no, don't be involved. Do what you're doing, which is lay out all your tasks beforehand and then let them run it. I think the best that they could have done is what they did, which is Phil standing at the mat,
Yes.
basically being like, please don't do this anymore. Like, move forward on your own. Try it on your own. He tried his best.
Phil wrote them the verbal, just like the verbal form of a strongly worded letter. Like, he did everything that he could in that moment.
10 out of 10, Phil, you tried.
You tried, you get a gold star for trying, but okay. Thumbs up or thumbs down on this city sprint as a twist on the Amazing Race?
I'm out on it. I didn't really like it. It kind of took away some of the stuff that I really enjoy as well, outside of seeing people, the teams working together. I like seeing the different challenges that are a little more, I don't know, they take a little more time. It makes me feel like it's a race where I see the teams. It's like, oh, so-and-so's getting a little closer. So-and-so's getting a little closer.
Yeah.
So that was kind of lost.
Yeah, I like it better too, and it's a little bit more dependent on your ability to do a lot of different tasks. And yeah, I know this pretty much entire leg came down to your ability to do one task, but it's just, I like the detour roadblock stuff. I don't think it's broken. Like, I don't think you need to fix it. And if you did do a detour and a roadblock, there's less of a chance that 3-person group would have all been doing the same thing anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, some of them didn't even seem to really matter. Like the foot race where they're all in the high heels, they didn't actually need to come in first. It was just kind of like, do the lap and on to the next thing. And I was like, well, what's the point of this then? I could basically lay down in a street and Matt, you could just roll me along until I get over the finish line. It doesn't matter how long it takes.
Do you really want that if we were on this leg rolling you the entire
that's
leg?
That's what I'm saying. Like, there needs to be a little bit more skin in a game.
I will say I enjoyed certain parts of this. Like, let's get into the first thing that happened here. They all get in. They're basically their form of calves, and they have to find, you know where I'm going here, the dude who's doing, like, the traffic things, like that guy.
You were doing it better during dinner, I feel.
Well, I'm in a small frame here.
Here, I'll go like this. Go. Yes! This is what was
okay, this guy is the MVP of the race, the
You are
dancing
the
traffic
MVP
man. Okay,
of the
that is not, everyone who just heard me complain about this leg for 10 minutes probably doesn't think so, but I did enjoy that. It is getting me through all of my personal D'Angelo bitterness.
No, that was fun. I really like the traffic cop. The horse challenge. That was also good. I like animals, so that was cool to see. I like the dancing lions and all of that. Whoever had the lion that was like blinking, that was awesome. I love that. That made me smile.
I was all in on the go and find the lions, and I want to know the Craigslist ad they put out for this, where it's like, are you willing to be a dancing lion in Manila and be okay with people like putting their hands in your mouth and like getting all up in your personal space?
Yep.
Like I like that stuff I found very, very fun. And like that's the thing. Like I thought some of the individual tasks, like they weren't bad. The heels thing, it was I guess amusing enough. Like it wasn't terrible.
It was all right.
It was better than whatever, go and find some stuff in India, like one of those things where that was the bangle thing. It's better than the bangles.
Okay, yeah, the bangle thing was good. But again, I wanted it to be like you had to run that race and actually win it. Otherwise, what are you doing? What's happening?
Let me ask you this. What if they had made this into a detour where they said, okay, you either have to go and run 3 laps in heels and you need to beat all of these other people that they brought on, or the other option is you go and you do a modified version of the horse challenge where you have to find more stuff like over a larger period of space.
Oh, the horses, anything to go hang out with the animals.
I think I would have been game with that as sort of a detour. Like they could have done that. I would have been happy. That would have been fine. But no, Amazing Race. Okay. Let's talk about our own perspective on this flag memory challenge.
Yeah, for me, I would have had to study flags, obviously, before I went on show. I know, like, 3 flags, like the American flag, the Canadian flag, and the Guyanese flag. And those are all the flags that I know. I'd like to just be able to see them and pick them up right away. So I would have done quite terrible at this.
I will say, when I saw that they were doing, like, there was the band there and there was music, I thought we were getting into a karaoke sort of challenge here. Because I watched the Philippines episode of Parts Unknown, and it was talking about how, like, the karaoke scene in the Philippines is huge. I was like, okay, Gary and D'Angelo are screwed. I saw Gary play that drum at the start of the season. It's over.
I would have done all right in the karaoke challenge, I feel, if there was one. I can do Rock Band on Expert.
Okay, I cannot do Rock Band on Expert, but I have done karaoke.
I can't sing, but for some reason I can do.
You are incredible at Rock Band, whereas I am terrible at Rock Band, but I am okay at doing weird karaoke. Like, I think I did it one time with a little bit of something, some sort of alcohol to, like, Brown Eyed Girl. But you know what? We don't need to get into that. I thought I would have we would have done well at this. We would have, I'm not to toot my own horn, and you know that we don't do this because we talk often about how terrible we are at most of these.
No, I think you would have been, you would have been great at the flags. I mean, you really would have been.
I'm really good at flags. I know I did really well in geography B in school.
Yep.
I feel like I would have gotten that down, and the music, like, as it was sort of mapped out in a way that the clown music they played so many times.
I would have been good at reading the clue. I think that the fact that, especially for some of the teams that have already gotten tripped up on not reading the clue, I mean, it's like the number one thing. Read the clue. Read it multiple times. Like, read it.
Yeah, it's not... ultimately, I know everybody is in a hurry and stressed and all that, but yeah, I don't think reading the clue would have gotten them fairly far. There were 3 of them that made pretty good sense to me. I think I would have gotten those 3 and then just had to guess a little bit, but we would have been out of there so fast, but the problem is we were so much slower than everyone else the rest of the leg, we still would have lost.
For sure.
That alliance would have just we would have been screwed.
Oh, for sure. That alliance would have ended us.
Okay, well now we do have to say goodbye to D'Angelo and Gary.
Yeah, and that really sucks. I mean, we've been rooting for them since the beginning. We really like them a lot, and it sucked to watch them go out that way, and it really sucked to see that it hit D'Angelo the way that it did, where it just, that last bit of that leg just took away the whole experience for him.
Yeah, and I'm just hoping it's if they had filmed them like 2 days later when he had a chance to react and reflect. But this is like 15 minutes after just finding out that he'd been screwed over by this group he was working with the whole time.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing of it, right? It was like the Mine 5, and then the last leg we watched Ishwar and Aparna get screwed over by their own alliance as well.
Well, D'Angelo and Gary, I do have to say this. Maybe you shouldn't have U-turned Ishwar and Aparna last week. You don't know what would have happened, but maybe if you had at least used it on Riley and Madison, who knows how they would have done at that, like, gardening thing, and maybe they would have been eliminated there.
Yeah, and then it would have been 2 against 2. Well, not really, because D'Angelo and Gary and Ishwar and Aparna didn't realize that their alliance had turned on them at that point.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe Ishwar and Aparna would have gotten lost. Maybe they didn't pay attention to the music.
Maybe.
Like, you would have at least had some sort of chance, but we have a final 3 now. They're so kumbaya in a way. It's sort of like when you're in high school and you're at the lunch table and you see like there are all these other people at a table laughing and everything else, and you're like sitting to the side like drinking your milk by yourself. It's like, that's how I feel watching. It's like, oh great, these 3 teams are having a really great time together. Good for you. I'm not in on the good time because I'm not in the alliance.
Listen, we do have 3 really good teams that are in this finale. I mean, I'm not going to be mad at any of them winning. But if I had to throw out who do I think is going to win and who, they all deserve to win, but who do I think is going to win? It's going to be Will and James. They've really been getting sort of a winner's edit of, they were the people that sort of created the alliance, and, they've done very well, and they've also been really sort of sneaky with stuff to, get a little further ahead. They've played a really great game. I think they're going to win and they're going to deserve their spot.
I'm going to zag mostly because it's more exciting if we have different guesses, because I think you have a pretty good chance of being right. But I will say Riley and
That's
Madison.
who I think is going to win, but who do I want to win? It's Hung and Chi.
Yeah, it's the same for me. I am rooting for Hung and Chi. I think Riley and Madison are going to win. I feel
We're
like...
in the short sisterhood together, me and Hung.
Well, I'm not short. I just like you, Hung. I like Hung and Chi a lot, even though I wish they weren't in an alliance. But I do really like them. I hope they win. I think Riley and Madison are going to win. They have really caught a lot of fire in the second half of this season. They've won a lot. I think Will and James are probably better at like certain maybe like cerebral challenges. But if it is just sort of like who is the fastest and most athletic, I don't know why I'm doing that while I'm doing it. Here's the one thing I want. They're in New Orleans for the final leg.
Here we go.
Please have a beignet eating competition, because if we were on the race, this would be my thing. I'd be like, that's it, yo. It is what it is. I'm bringing Enzo back just for that.
God.
It is a wrap.
Matt loves these things. I have never had them. There may or may not be a deep fryer under our tree. Who knows? But if there are, hopefully you will make some so that I can have some.
We will have our post-Amazing Race finale beignet celebration. I will do the beignet challenge here if it is not in the final leg.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we have poured out our hearts about this weird, just frustrating episode.
Frustrating episode, it really was.
I still love the Amazing Race. You guys can't make me
too.
quit the show, Amazing Race producers, but fix yourself. Fix the rules. I don't
Fix yourself.
I don't like all the alliance. Just be sounding like I'm like a petulant child at this point, like just like stomping my feet. But you know what?
Yes, you are.
Let me know what you thought about this episode in the comments, and if you do like this video, see, I'm going to get out of here before I have a full-fledged meltdown. Subscribe, give us a like, support us further by checking these links to the store, our Patreon, and we will see you here next time.